So here we go. Khabib, obviously a master of single leg. He does a great shot against Iaquinta. He did such a great job at changing level early on, getting low on that single. Now McGregor's a southpaw. The lead leg is going to be even closer than it was against Iaquinta. When you have two fighters on opposite stance, the lead legs, sometimes you'll see their feet touching. They're stepping on each other's toes. The single leg is easier to shoot on a southpaw. Why? Because the lead leg is closer to me. It makes the double a little bit harder, but the single leg easier. Now, who's a master of single leg? It turns out it's Khabib. Khabib is a master of single leg. That single leg is going to be hard to avoid because Khabib shoots it very low, and he knows how to fillet that leg. Look, he knows 101 ways to finish a single leg. If McGregor kicks, it's just going to be easier for Khabib to grab. It's going to be easier for Khabib to grab. Now, I think that last fight against Iaquinta, Khabib showed improved boxing. He did a good job. Against, when he fought Michael Johnson, he got tagged up a lot coming in. Okay, so we saw that the head movement wasn't there against the Michael Johnson fight. In the Iaquinta fight, it was better. It still wasn't phenomenal. It was better, still not phenomenal. It could be an easy target for McGregor, especially with McGregor's reach and his power. Now, Michael Johnson has really good precision, really good speed as well, and he scored against Khabib. He did, and he's got power too. Khabib was fortunate enough not to get hurt. You know, he took some shots, he took them well, he stayed composed. He ended up taking down Michael Johnson and finishing him later on with the TKO, ground and pound. Now we know that Khabib can get hit. We know he can take a shot, but the big question is, can he take a shot from McGregor? I would venture that he should. I would tell him not to even, never to find out. You know, this is not something you want to find out on fight night. It's too dangerous. Okay, it's way too dangerous. Conor McGregor's shots are just way too dangerous. If he does get hit, it could be lights out. The single leg is going to be easier to grab. That's the good news. The bad news is that I don't know if he has the speed or head movement to close the distance. We're going to find out on fight night. Now, here's the really good news for Khabib. If he gets on top of McGregor, he's going to drain McGregor. He's going to take away those precision strikes. If McGregor were to survive a round underneath Khabib, I don't know if he'll be able to come back in the next round with the same precision, the same accuracy, and the same pop and the same power. His striking ability might take a beating. Okay, why? Because having Khabib on top of you, working his ground and pound, working his breakdowns, breaking you back down to the mat is exhausting. It could really take away a lot from your striking. So I think that if Khabib gets a couple of takedowns early on, the striking won't matter so much anymore. It's just going to be it's going to be an avalanche of takedowns, possibly. If he breaks McGregor on the ground, hurts him, fatigues him. We've seen that McGregor in hard fights slows down. His left hand seems more human. His distance control is not so precise anymore. We saw that with the Mayweather fight. After round 7, that's it. Those bizarre shots were gone. It just seemed like he couldn't keep Mayweather off him. It just wasn't going to happen. And he started it. If you guys don't remember, he started initiating a lot of clinching. He saved himself by clinching Mayweather. He won't have that luxury with Khabib. If he does that with Khabib, things will get worse. He'll get pulled down to the mat. He'll get snapped down. He'll get thrown. He'll get tossed to the mat. So obviously that's not a great game plan for him. McGregor, obviously he knows that. He won't be doing that in the fight. But I'm just saying he won't have the same survival mechanism that'll work for him like he had with a Diaz. With Diaz, he can clinch up a lot with Diaz. Diaz is not a big thrower. Even though he did throw McGregor in the 5th round, he did a beautiful foot sweep in their second fight. I believe it was the second fight. Yeah, of course, the second fight went to the distance. He won't have that luxury with Khabib. He won't be able to clinch up as much as he did with Diaz in the Khabib fight. He won't. He'll get thrown. He'll get taken down. He'll get mauled. So, what's my pick for this fight? Okay, well, listen. These kind of fights, guys, every time I do a pre-fight analysis, I'm always picking the hardest fights to pick, guys. These fights are 50-50. Really, that's what they are. That's why you always see my odds. The odds I always give is like 51-49. Why? Because I see this as such a competitive fight. And that's the only fights I really want to do breakdowns on. Okay, I'm not going to do breakdowns on fights that are obvious. Why? And no fights are obvious, but some fights are, they're easier to call. Why? Why is that? Because the most exciting fights, people tune into fights only when they don't know what's going to happen. If we're going to see a rematch, down the line between Kevin Lee versus Barboza, nobody's going to watch that fight. We're not going to bother doing a pre-fight analysis because we all probably think that the same thing is going to happen, right? So we'll be less excited for that fight. We're always excited for fights where we're like, what's going to happen? Like, there's just one really good fighter on this side, another great fighter on this side, and we're intrigued. We just don't know what's going to happen. Those are the best fights. Those are the only ones we're ever going to analyze. So these are hard to call fights. Now, this fight, in my opinion, I'm going to give, the way I see it, is a 50-50 fight. It's a 50-50 fight. I can't tell you that I know for a fact that McGregor is going to catch him on the way in or that Khabib is going to score those takedowns. I don't know. Nobody knows. It's such a 50-50 fight. However, I do believe that whoever gets his way is going to have a shining night that night. That night is going to be, he's going to look like the greatest lightweight of all time. Why? Because whoever gets to the fight in his wheelhouse is going to win by head and shoulders, in my opinion. Now, if Khabib gets it to the ground, it's going to be a Khabib show. And if McGregor keeps it standing, it's going to be the McGregor show. What I don't expect to happen is a seesaw battle back and forth, going on the ground, standing back up, going on the ground, standing back up, exchanges, standing up, heated exchanges. I don't really see that. Okay, now it's possible. Anything is possible. And oftentimes the most unlikely thing happens. Sometimes it does happen. Okay, so it's possible that it goes 5 rounds, grinding, McGregor getting back up to his feet, throwing some shots, landing, connecting, Khabib answering back, taking him back down, scrambling on the ground. Maybe even McGregor gets a takedown, and maybe Khabib lands some big shots standing up. These things can happen, okay? The unexpected can happen. I just don't see it that way. I think it'll be a heated battle if McGregor hurts Khabib early, but Khabib survives the rounds. And then McGregor kind of slows down, but Khabib's still alive. Now, his takedowns are not as good because he got tagged up earlier on, and then it can become more heated. These things can happen, no doubt about it, okay? But I think it would be because McGregor slows down later in the later rounds and Khabib is damaged, okay? But I think either McGregor's going to win big in the first round and a half. So let's say the first 2 rounds. But if he doesn't win big, it's going to be the Khabib show. So that's my call, guys. I'm giving it 50-50. That was me going on for about 24 minutes. I hope I didn't bore you guys.